So Arsenal beat Leicester City 3-1 at home in a Monday night game. That's 10 games on the bounce for Arsenal. Hello. Unai Emery seems to know what he's doing. The best run of wins since 2007, Flav.
Yep.
You did tweet out that Arsenal were a myth, and we will get into that. We will get into that, Flav.
I wasn't expecting to bring that up.
Mid-intro.
These...
But...
Got both of them.
Yeah. But at least we're not wearing the same top. That's good, because sometimes people get angry about our monochrome ways. But Arsenal are looking pretty good, but it is only November. What are your thoughts on Arsenal and Mesut Ozil? Let's go.
The tweak, can we do that first? Because it was just it's a minor thing. I'd add a couple of alcoholic beverages.
You can tell. If anyone who follows Flav on Twitter, you can tell when he's had a few. Because it's often a football tweet.
Yeah, because I don't often do it. And look, I looked at the first half performance of Arsenal in that, and I'm just thinking, they are lucky here to get away with this. And I know every team has a bit of luck.
For if you need
XG.
XG.
No, but look, Leicester should have had 2 goals. They should have had a penalty, and it didn't go their way. It went Arsenal's way, and obviously Arsenal duly punished Leicester for that. And the performance, we're going to get into it a little bit, but the performance after Emery made that double substitution, Guendouzi and Aubameyang, they were incredible for a 10-minute spell and put Leicester to the sword.
Yeah, I think. Well, I guess there's 2 ways of looking at this. Do you go look at that first 30 odd minutes or whatever it was, and go, there are some clear, glaring problems with Arsenal, and therefore you look at their run and go, actually, who have you actually played? Or do you look at the jolt from there on and the quality they were able to show going forward and go, hang on, this is a team that if they can just sort of tweak that and get that right, they can do something really special.
Look, you can't criticise Arsenal for beating every team that they put in front of them.
No.
It doesn't. You're not saying that they're not the real deal. They are. They clearly are. They do have.
What's the real deal?
It's the team that can challenge Man City and Liverpool for the title.
See, I would be a hypocrite if I agreed with that, if I said they were the real deal. Because from the start of the season, I've said that they are not the real deal.
Yeah. But are you maintaining that? Because
I am going to. I don't want to. I also don't want to be that guy who just does it out of spite. So what I would say is that their attacking play is frightening at times.
Yeah, incredible.
And Aubameyang will generally start. I think it's 22 games in the Premier League, 21 goals he's been involved in.
Yeah.
The front 3, Ozil, you look Mkhitaryan as well. It's a good team going forward, but the same problems remain at the
they do have issues at the back, and we won't know whether or not they are up to much until they start playing the top 6. But I would say that isn't a problem or a conundrum reserved for Arsenal. We're all in the same boat. Spurs have won 7 of 9, but who have we played really? We played Premier League teams that most people would expect us to beat.
Yeah.
To do that, to win the games that Arsenal won, that Spurs have won, that Liverpool won, is actually quite difficult to do in the Premier League. I think I read a stat the other day that Spurs are one of only 83 teams in the history of football in England to have won 7 of their first 9 games, and we're in 5th place. So,
wow.
We're all in the same boat. Well, how can we perform against other top 6?
I definitely are in the same boat.
How well can these teams perform against other top 6 sides?
Yeah.
That's going to be the metric.
Well, look, I think that's the thing with this as well. Like, you can set your stall out at the start of the season and go, I don't think Arsenal are going to finish top 4, and that's what I said, and I'm sticking with that. The reason I'm saying that is through a lack of experience of this Arsenal team. When you talk about Spurs and Arsenal being the same boat, the difference is the Spurs team, you know that defence is decent. You know Spurs have done well over the last 3-4 years defensively. They've got good Premier League players in those positions. The Arsenal back 4, Lichtsteiner last night was wobbly. Like, I think against lesser sides, I think he's a good player to have because he's clearly a leader. You can see the kind of the desire, the commitment that he shows, but I think he gave the ball away a lot, and a lot of joy that Leicester had came from his mistakes and individual errors from Arsenal. Mustafi, I'll be amazed if anyone in the comments wants to back Mustafi as a quality centre-back for Arsenal.
I mean, Arsenal fans like him.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't think they do.
Well, let us know in the comments below.
Okay.
Is he any good?
But I guess, look, on the other side of that, so that's the reason, that I still think, look, I know these are 10 games.
Yeah.
And they have won those games, so that's brilliant. And the front guys are great as well. But I feel like we've been here before in November where they've gone on a good run.
Yeah.
That's happened before,
Wenger
definitely.
2 seasons ago, they were top of the league I think it was Christmas, actually.
Well, yeah, so I think that we need to have another video. when
Yeah.
they beat Man City or beat Liverpool or they got Liverpool not this week, next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a cracking test to see how far Emery's taken them. But Emery has improved them.
Absolutely.
They have moved forward. This run of games as well has helped with that. with the confidence.
It's helped, but again, you keep going back to this running games thing and the fixture thing. Regardless, it's still very difficult to win games in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about it. I don't think anyone should be worried about it. I think, but they're there. You've got to win those games and get on with it. And what makes you look at this Arsenal team in a different light now is because of those games, and that's a great thing. That's not something to truly be worried about, because you now look at that team, and yes, it's going to be an element's going to be down to Emery. But an element is winning games and a bit of confidence and that sunshine that comes from that. Because you look at that team yesterday, and look, he brought Aubameyang on and he brought Guendouzi on. Guendouzi's a young player who's been impressive so far, and so when he comes on, you go, okay, great, that's a good substitution.
In that kind of game, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Leicester had kind of given up at that. But we're not giving up, but their gas tank was nearly empty.
Yeah, and do you know another name as well that we haven't spoken about? Yeah, Iwobi's been brilliant this year for Arsenal.
Excellent last night.
And that's a player who, was rubbish last year.
Well, if you look at their front line, you think Iwobi's the weakest link there, but actually was one of their better performers. So, look, Emery, you talked about Emery, just the start of that. He's got them playing very, very attractive football. And the defensive aspect of it could be teething problems. He's changed the system completely. He does have to stick with it because he believes in it. It's the way he plays. It is creating problems, but at the moment they're winning games, so you don't change.
I'm really excited to see.
It enables them to be that attacking minded.
Yeah, and again, and look, Leicester are a good side with a lot of different
players
threats.
Yeah.
Maddison is a good player. Vardy's a good player. Iheanacho's cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Chilwell's a good player. Saw his quality.
Iheanacho was very deep last night, and I thought, to me, he's a number 9, perfect number 9. He should be playing up top. But when you've got Vardy, how do you fit both of those players into the team?
Yeah.
He was ineffective, Iheanacho. So. They've got some good players though.
And even from set pieces as well, that a mid-table side when they're taking on those top 6 sides, sometimes set pieces need to be an element that can get you something. And Harry Maguire, they've got that as well. So this is a team that should be finishing top 10. It's a good side.
Well, it's from a set piece that Rob Holding handballed. So, and if there wasn't a clearer penalty you'll ever see than that.
Yeah, they definitely got away with that. And then the referee was looking straight at it. I found that strange that he didn't see that one. The one person we've got to talk about though is Mesut Ozil. Who, have I got his name right? I always get it wrong. Ozil?
Ozil, yeah.
Yeah, I think I said Ozil once. I got absolutely hammered for it.
Good.
A lot of people, so I was listening to the Five Live Daily podcast, and Chris Sutton was like,
not having it.
No, raving about him.
Oh, really?
And I was like, wow, he must have done all right if Chris Sutton's
he
hasn't got anyone.
He was head and shoulders. He was incredible. The finish for his goal was such class. He was dragged back to him, I think, from Bellerin, and it just ran onto it and just stroked it in. The way it went in off the post, it's one of the most, for an Arsenal fan, a very satisfying goal. Lovely, fluid
So
football.
slow, isn't it? As well?
Yeah,
just it is. It is going in.
It reminded me of the kind of goal Van der Vaart would score often at Spurs as well. Ozil has always been. It's never been an argument whether or not he's a world-class player. He is. He's an incredible player, and they pay him accordingly. He costs £350,000 a week in wages. You shouldn't be marvelling at the fact that he's doing this. You should be become more expectant of that level of performance. And the fact is, throughout his career at Arsenal, he hasn't performed consistently enough to warrant that kind of contract, in my opinion. They paid it because of the contract length and the fact that they couldn't lose him and Sanchez. But undoubtedly, last night he was mercurial.
That's the role for him.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot less defensive work that he has to do. You've got Torreira there, who I think now you can go. Torreira, letting Wilshere go and bringing Torreira in was obviously the right decision. That guy is cracking centre midfield. Is going to be very, very useful, both in those games when teams are playing on the counter-attack, but also against those top teams. But the other thing that Emery has done is, if you put him in a more central area, if you look at his pass map on who scored, you see 68 passes he had, which wasn't the most, but where he's picking up the ball, he's actually not picking up the ball where his position is on the pitch, which was sort of attacking, central attacking midfield. But it was out wide. Right. So he's been given that opportunity sort of to drift either side and pick up the ball in those pockets, but in those pockets out wide. But what's helpful is that He's able to do that on both sides of the pitch. He's not stuck to one side. And also he's got people like Lacazette who can go beyond, and in the second half you've got Aubameyang who can go beyond as well, that can free up that space for him and allow him to do what he's good at. But, you know, there was end product as well yesterday, wasn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And Ozil is just in his pomp when the team's playing well and there's space. You know, if he's given space, he will destroy any defence. But the problem is, and I'm not one to quote Souness because he is a miserable old scrote, but when the game is very tight and he does become a passenger, but that's the price you pay for the quality that he has when he can turn it on. The risk is that is he a bit of a flat track bully, and that in itself is fine, because if you do it against 80% of the sides in the Premier League, which are lesser sides than Arsenal, then that's 80% of the time he's performing. But when it's a tight away from home game, he can become a luxury at times.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say though that, like, say Lukaku, they said he's a flat track bully, but when last year when he was at Man United, in those, I know he's going through a tough time now, but when he's in those big games, he actually scored a good few goals last season because he was playing with better players. And I think with Arsenal, sometimes in the last few years, in those big games, you haven't got players around you who are better than the opposition or really making the opposition totally concerned. And so that's been a problem for Ozil as well. But again, this is something that in November, I swear we've heard this before. I swear we've seen this with Ozil before. So what will be interesting is if Emery can get the tactics in place with the attacking threats that they've got now, that you can get the best out of him in those big games.
And then later on in the season, we're going to see whether or not they're going to take the Europa League seriously. At the moment, he's managing it brilliantly, winning games with a very understrength side against teams that just shouldn't even really be talked about. I mean, I don't even know a single name of a team that Arsenal have played. Going into the latter stages, when the Champions League teams drop into it, will he take it more seriously, and what impact will it have on the league form? It's going to be interesting.
And it's all about the spin, isn't it? You know, we start in this video, they've won 10 on the bounce. And some of those games, you can say they are against the Europa League sides.
The league form is the key.
But the league form has been brilliant as well. But there's a good feeling, isn't it? Great feeling at Arsenal. You've got to be excited about that, Flav. You've got to be excited about that.
I mean, look, for the first time in 3 years, I'm wary of Arsenal. And that's a good thing for them. I think
little dig, wasn't it?
In the lot, yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Jim, I can't. I'm hoping that they fall away.
Okay. Will Arsenal fall away? Let us know in the comments below.
I mean, how are they gonna react? Because Liverpool are the best attacking team in the league, probably, and Man City. With the space that Arsenal are going to give them, because he's not going to change his system. Their press is so high, that I can't see anything than Salah, Mane just ripping them to shreds.
But these guys are on the same kind of form as Aubameyang and Ozil.
It'd be a high-scoring game then. But Liverpool, I don't know. We'll see. We're going to preview it when they come.
Absolutely. So yeah, as I said, let us know your thoughts on Ozil, on Arsenal, and Emery in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video and you're still watching, then you must have enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe to Ball Street. We'll see you soon.